Hey guys, the Nigerian Senate was thrown into a rowdy section Wednesday by the Senate President, Senator Akpabio, the immediate past Senate President, Senator Lawan, and the Senate Chief Whip, Senator Ndume. There was a mid-drama in the Red Chamber as the Senate leaders disagreed over the 23 trillion Ways and Means funds approved by the Ninth Assembly under the leadership of the former Senate President Lawan. Addressing the Senate on the report of the Senate committee set up to probe the Ways and Means funds approved by the Ninth Assembly for the former President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, Akpabio said, what the Senate did under the leadership of Lawan had thrown Nigeria into a more economic mess. Directly asking Lawan to speak on the issue, Akpabio said, we are saying what you did at that time has put the nation in more mess economically. Therefore, because of the current economic situation we have found ourselves, there is the need for us to look at the details to know whether they were rightly spent. Lawan said, there is nothing that the National Assembly that makes laws cannot look into and review. He said that if there were expenditures wrongly done in contradiction to the provision of the Constitution, the National Assembly can look at the expenditures, and if sanctions were needed for unlawful actions or unauthorized expenditures, the National Assembly would provide the sanctions. The former Senate President argued, what the Ninth National Assembly approved or ratified in terms of Ways and Means were not 29 trillion naira or 30 trillion, it was 22 trillion, but there was 819 billion to attend to, deal with, and address very serious infrastructure dilapidations that we had across the country. If we have a Ways and Means that is 30 trillion today, that means something happened between then and now. And it is for the National Assembly to find out what happened. Lawan insisted that nobody in the chamber should suggest that the Assembly should not look into what they feel is the public interest, but what Nigerians want today is food and security. This Ways and Means issue belongs to the medium or long-term action that we need to take. How are we going to provide food for Nigerians and protect their lives? Let us not put the cart before the horse. Let's consider it necessary to look at what happened in the past. But we, in the present, and the present is so unpleasant, and we have to act very swiftly, he said. Responding to Lawan's submission, Akpabio said, even though the Ways and Means were part of the things that put us where we are today, we are saying that expenses that were not explained, that we don't have details about, put us in the indebtedness that we are seeing today. Akpabio noted that it has affected the ability of the government to provide essential needs and services to Nigerians, and that the National Assembly needs to look into it. He, however, agreed that Nigerians are currently faced with a food crisis, and they need to act immediately to put food on the table of Nigerians. Akpabio said, what we got to 30 trillion naira was because of the interest element. They brought that before this current Senate, that the interest has occurred to the 23 trillion that was passed by the 9th Senate, and that they needed additional 7 trillion, which was the interest. We passed the interest, and that is what was added to make it 30 trillion. Speaking further, Godwin Akpabio confronted the Senate Chief Whip, Ndume, that he was part of the Ninth Senate that approved the Ways and Means, but Ndume quickly denied being involved in its approval. Ndume said, "I was not there. Check the record. You cannot approve illegality. What they did was illegal. The Senate does not have the right. Let it be on record." Ndume's denial of being part of lawmakers who approved the Ways and Means in the Ninth Senate threw the section into rowdiness, as some of the lawmakers insisted that Ndume was involved. Ndume argued that the Senate only has the right of approval, but does not have the right to ratify when money has been spent. We don't have the right to ratify. We only have the right to approve, he said. He further said that the Ninth Senate only approved 119 billion and that the details of other funds that had been spent should be provided. He said it has never been provided till date. This committee should find out what happened to the money. People must be held responsible, and they should come and explain to this Senate that they did what they did with the money. Now is the time that people are looking for their money everywhere. Where is that money? Akpabio sarcastically said, "I want you to look that Senator Ndume cannot remember being there when the thing happened." The Senate president said that what the senators from the Ninth Senate were saying was that the total amount of 30 trillion was brought before them for approval. However, they left a caveat that they could approve the funds, but they needed details, and that to date, the details had not been provided. On this part, Senator Mustapha Habibi, representing Jigawa Southwest Senatorial District, said that in addition to Ways and Means, there were loans given to state governments and the manufacturing sector, some of which had not been returned. We have a correctional amount of money given to the banks, and this amount run into trillions of naira. We need to really interrogate this. These course electricity distribution companies were also given money by the CBN, the Central Bank of Nigeria. This money needs to be returned to CBN, he said. National Assembly should be scrambled. National Assembly should be scrambled. They are one of our biggest problems we are facing today. So guys,